Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today, this is the last whiskey of this batch shoot, and this is going to be the only Scotch that I do this go round, leaving for the next set of videos that I make, the Bunnahabhain, the Ben Romick, and then this Jameson Cold Brew, being the last whiskeys that I have in possession that I need to do reviews of. But we're going to do this Gordon and MacPhail Connoisseur's Choice single malt Scotch whiskey. This is a Caol Ila, 10-year-old Caol Ila that they took, and I believe what they do is they go around to different distilleries, and there's if you look up Gordon and MacPhail, they do expressions from different distilleries. Now they don't hide it at all, which is nice. So they chose this Ila from Caol Ila to do their connoisseur's choice here, and they give credit right here on the bottle. It says single malt Scotch whiskey from Caol Ila Distillery, 10 years old. It is sitting at 46% ABV. So what is that? 92 proof. Now, if you watch this channel, if you go back and watch my video, I have right here. I've only had one Caol Ila. I had this Caol Ila 12, just their standard 12-year, which was sitting at 43%, so 86 proof. Huge fan of Caol Ila. I think they make excellent whiskey, and the reason why I had to bring out the box is because the bottle is now gone. Definitely drank all of that. So, really big fan. One of the Ila distilleries. And then this sorry to keep jumping back and forth, but this Bunnahabhain and the Ben Romick, sorry, not Ben Romick, the Kilchoman were some of the only distilleries that I had yet to have an expression from. So we'll get to that in the upcoming videos. But, I've pretty much got all of the distilleries with the exception of one at this point from the Isle of Islay, and that is the Ardnahoe. So still trying to track one down. I have not seen one anywhere or online to the best of my ability. I'm sure I could pay through the nose and find something shipped over from Europe or something like that. But that might be something I have to pick up. Hopefully someday the world, chills out and quits being so freaking crazy. Hopefully the world's still standing as is in the not too distant future. So like maybe in 5 years, hopefully I'll get to be able to take a trip to Scotland, specifically to Islay and maybe Speyside, or the Isles, I should say, because the Isle of Skye, Talisker, huge fan. But as far as Caol Ila goes, huge fan of Caol Ila. Their 12-year was excellent, and like I said, that's the only one I've had so far, so it was really nice to find this. Now, I don't know if this is a single barrel or not. I'm sorry for the dead space here. It doesn't say whether or not they're single barrels or not, so I'm going to just throw it out there that these are not. They just grab a bunch of barrels. It does say that this particular expression from Caol Ila Distillery is matured in refill sherry hogsheads and has sweet cured meat, blah 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 blah. That's the tasting notes. We're not going to worry about that so much, but it's sherry hogshead. So there you go. That's the kind of barrels that we got here. And if you've been watching the channel, you know I love Islay whiskeys. I love the peat. And that Caol Ila 12, really, just for reference, I paid, I think Caol Ila 12 was not very expensive. Caol Ila 12-year, $68.32. It's not expensive when you're talking about Scotch whiskey. $68 is still a fair amount of money. I'm not gonna, deny that by any stretch. So it was moderately expensive. Nowhere near as high as some of the $100+ expressions that I do have down below the bar here. And then same for this. This Connoisseur's Choice. 2 years younger. I paid $68.99, again, downtown and country down in Cheyenne. Their prices are a little higher than other places around the state. And like Total Wine, if you have a Total Wine near you, you know how lucky you are, because those are just excellent stores. The prices are excellent. Let's get into this glass straight away. I mean, smack you in the face. Sweet, malty butterscotch. And you can tell, so 10 years old, really light on color. But don't let that fool you when it comes to Isla's. Like if you look at Ardbeg, some of the Lefroy's, super light in color. But man, butterscotch, and just that maltiness, the malted milk ball on the back without the chocolate, and just little wisps of smoke, peatiness, like earthy peatness in the glass. The smoke just presents as standard campfire smoke. Real light, mostly sweet vanillas, butterscotch, sweet notes, and malt. Now, to me, I say malted milk balls. Like if you took a malted milk ball, removed the chocolate. Chocolate has no part of that nose, and just crushed up that powdered inner part, that white part, and got that smell. That's what malt presents as to me. So like a vanilla mixed with just a little bit of grain's not the right word, but dustiness of some sort. To me, it's super pleasant and very recognizable. On the taste, oh my gosh, that is amazing. Now, mind you, I've had 5 bourbons right before this, some of which were in the 100 proof, 100, 120 proof range, 125 proof. That is umami, hefty, cured ham, smoke cured ham mixed with brown sugar, butterscotch, smokiness, like if you're downwind from somebody smoking jerky, a little bit of salty brininess on the finish. Oh, so good. The thing I love about Isla's, the amazing thing about them, is it covers all these things, right? So like you have sweet notes, you have meaty, savory, umami type notes, you have smoky, you have peaty earthiness, you have seaside salty brininess, and it all comes together, and it comes together in a way that nothing is out of place, nothing is painful to drink, and the entire experience is just good. So good. 10 years old, that might drink better than that Caol Ila 12 I had. Worth every penny. $68.99. If you can find this Gordon MacPhail Connoisseur's Choice Caol Ila 10-year. Now they do have other distilleries, and I think they bear the Connoisseur's Choice branding, so you'll have to look and make sure that you are getting the Caol Ila brand or the Caol Ila distillery and expression. But man, and those sherry casks must be bringing, there is some fruit. There was so much going on in there that I couldn't really process it all at the same time. Now sherry typically brings now I've had some sherry cask stuff that literally has the flavor of sherry in it, like cooking sherry. Oftentimes it brings those dark fruit notes. And now these are the hogsheads. So the hogshead casks, if I'm not mistaken, are just the end pieces. So it might be a regular barrel, regular being some used barrel, that just the end pieces, the butts, are sherry casks. Don't quote me on that, because I didn't research that, but I believe that is correct. I may be wrong. Going back into the glass, the nose hasn't changed a whole lot, but it seems like I'm convincing myself that the sherry like I'm starting to smell sherry, but it's mostly malt and butterscotch. Just excellent. Okay, going for another taste. Let's see if I can pick it apart a little bit more. So that time, get that meaty, savory, um, salty um, sweetness up front. So it's like a honey cured smoked ham up front, where you pick up some brown sugar. I did get a little tinge of like a sherry note in the middle there, where it tasted like sherry cooking wine, but a sweet sherry, not a dry sherry, because that whole mid palate was all sweet butterscotch. It finishes up with a nice smoke that just carries on. It's not dominating, and over the top, it's like just the right amount of smoke that just keeps carrying on, along with an underpinning of sweetness. And then on the very back of your palate, at the very finish of the flavor profile, there's like this nice salty brininess. I mean, this whiskey literally has everything. This is an excellent whiskey. Um, at $68.99, call it $69. 69. Yes, it's only 10 years old, but man, they picked some really good whiskey to go in here. I would say this drinks better just because of how pleasant the sweet notes are in there and how savory the meaty notes are, than several of the whiskeys that I have that are 80, 90, 100, $120. So worth every penny. If you can find this, definitely go out and get yourself a bottle if you are a fan of Islay or PD whiskeys. This is one you're not going to want to miss. If you're a Laphroaig fan, definitely check this out. If you like Caol Ila, obviously check this out. Really good whiskey. Man, I don't know if I'd put this in the intro category, but there's enough sweet in here, and the peat is subdued and tolerable enough that maybe you might want to get something like this to introduce yourself to peated whiskeys. I don't know. But as I said, $68.99 down in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Drop in the comments down below what you can find it for in your area if you're able to find it. Also, any experiences you have with it, what your thoughts are on it. I'd be curious to hear what everybody else has to say about it. I'm obviously in love with this. Caol Ila is doing awesome stuff. They make really good whiskey. I'm just a fan of Islay in general. It doesn't matter really which one. This Bunnahabhain I have, I can't wait to review that in the next set of videos because I had a pour of that last night while I was watching Grumpier Old Men. My wife and son got me Grumpy Old Men and Grumpier Old Men as a Blu-ray combo set, and we watched the second one last night. Had a nice pour of the Bunnahabhain. Man, it's so good. We'll get into that. And FYI, just kind of for instance, the next dog we get, it's what is it? It's June. We had to put my pointer down. You can watch the videos back a couple of videos about I had to put her down in January. First time in 21 years I'm without a bird dog. But we decided the next dog that we get, which hopefully will be in like, I don't know, maybe like 3 years. When our son's a little bit older, and we've had an opportunity to go out and enjoy the world a little bit without being shackled to a dog. As much as we love dogs. The next dog is going to be named Bunnahabhain, and I think as a joke, but what we're really going to call it is Bert, and it'll probably be a female, which is interesting. My last dog's name was Paco, who was a female. But Bunnahabhain, Bert for short, because you need a single syllable name when you're yelling at your dog across the prairie or up and down the mountain and you're trying to get him to come to you. But Bert, in honor of Kitty, Kitty's mom from that 70s show, who was played by Betty White, yelling for her husband, and I don't remember who played the husband, but his name was Bert. And if you haven't seen that 70s show with an episode of Betty White and Bert and how she yells for him, it's just too comical. So we decided Bunnahabhain with the kicker of Bert. So there you go. and I'll probably reiterate that story when I review that next. But for now, Caol Ila 10-year under the Gordon and MacPhail Connoisseurs Choice. They picked an excellent whiskey here. Highly recommend it. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this video with anybody who you think might enjoy this or get some benefit out of it. As always, check out LifeandWhiskey on all of the other platforms that we are on. That's down in the description of this video. And as always, thank you for watching. Everybody who has watched, I do appreciate it. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video. And that's all I gotta say about that. See ya.